How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the show. We have a lot to talk about. Not only is Aragorn coming back, apparently, maybe, we think, but that was going to be the lead story. But then I listened to my buddy Josh Horowitz's podcast today, Happy, Sad, Confused, which I strongly recommend that you should do. And he just had on James Gunn. I knew he was going to have on James Gunn. He told me that they had a really good conversation. And it was funny because Josh told me that he asked this particular question, and I was like, "Oh, let me see if he asked it." And sure shit, he did. And he asked about Robert Pattinson as the DCU Batman, and he asked him if he considered it. And Gunn pretty much said, "Yeah, I definitely did consider it." And he went back and forth on it. So we're gonna talk about that, myself and Steph here today, because we have tons to discuss, and we're gonna be talking with you guys about that and a whole lot more on the show today. So it's myself and Steph Sabra. Let's get to it, guys. Let's do the show. Welcome back to the Kristian Harloff Show. It's me. That's my name. And with me today, every Thursday now, I'm rain or shine, and one of the only one who's actually early these days, Steph Sabra. Hello, Steph.
That's such a big thing for me. You know where I've come from with time.
It's true. Yeah. Well,
I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
Still not the best texter.
No.
Not the best.
I need to work on my texting.
Do you have red hair?
Yeah, a little bit.
When did you do that?
I did it. Well, I did a lighter red. It's like a red undertone.
Yeah, that's cool.
Roxy did it, and then I touched it up. Thank you.
I like that. It's cool. You're able to rock that kind of stuff.
I've had natural hair for over a year and was like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Who am I?
I know. Well, hey.
I can't. Yeah, and Harry was like, "Good, dye your hair."
There you go. Well, so now you did, and it's good. Again, it goes with the whole outfit and all that too. Now you and Roxy are very close. You guys are pals, but it's just you versus her today. It's you versus
really?
Roxy took out Roka with 82. She's got 82 right now.
What about tomorrow? Are the boys coming?
They're coming in. I mean, yeah, they've been your biggest competitors thus far.
They have.
But because last week they overtook it and they did it. You weren't on last week, but they took it. But Roxy still looking for her first win. But people were saying yesterday that she's going up against you today, so it might be tough. It's 1-on-1, and starting already of 6 as we are not even just started. So we're at 6 thus far. But let's get into these topics, right? Because we have quite a lot to talk about, and I'm gonna kind of blend all of this together. Because did you see any of Creature Commandos yet?
No.
Okay, so I watched. I can't even remember how many episodes I watched because the reason
when did they drop?
They dropped yesterday. I think 2 of them dropped yesterday, and I've seen.
Okay.
I was able to see like 6 because I just told you I interviewed Frank Grillo, and he's the voice of Rick Flag Sr. And what a great conversation that was with Frank. He's just he's the best. He's the best. I wish I could interview him every day. There's so much to talk about.
He's like a friend.
Yeah. It's just so much. It's like, and I told Roxy this the other day, and I was happy to see that. I saw the comment on this. Like when I'm talking to people, and I guess it's categorized as an interview, right? But I really just like to have conversations with people. I just like to have straight on conversations with people, and I have an idea of things I want to talk to them about, obviously, but I let it kind of take me on the road. Like there's even one part in the beginning of the conversation where Frank's talking, and I was like, "Oh, I want to get to all this stuff, but I'm going to try to stay on track because I could have jumped to anything because he brought it up." And we talked about everything. We talked about DC. We talked about his new movie Werewolves. We talked about him working with Stallone, The Raid, Warrior. I mean, there was tons of it within an hour that we covered, and it was just it was great.
I can't wait to check it out. He feels like a cool dude.
It was a very easy conversation from the second we started talking, and he's also buddies with Matt Serra, so that was another entry. He had just done Matt's show, so I brought that up to him. We started talking a little bit about that, and then and that was it. So that's up on the channel for people if they haven't seen it yet. And I was happy to see that people were tuning into that one. And it's funny because I was bummed that when I put the Jaleel White one up, the clips for Jaleel White crushed. The clips did very, very well. The interview, when it started out, I was like, oh, it only like 2,000. It's up to like 11,000 now. I'm like, okay.
Okay, great.
So it's like people are finding the interviews. So
yeah, and those ones don't get uninteresting is the good part.
Yeah. There's some really good ones for sure. Okay. So Creature Commandos, let's start with that, and then I'm going to go into the comments of what Gunn said about Pattinson. So this is the Creature Commandos right now. It is him talking about DCU's canon and the consistent world. The new DC Universe's first project, the animated series Creature Commandos, is about to hit Max a few hours and is riding a wave of good reviews in the process. Ahead of that, James Gunn, maybe it's not out yet. Is it not out yet? Maybe it's not. Ahead of that, James Gunn has been out there promoting the show, all while co-running DC Studios and post-production on both Superman and Peacemaker Season 2. The latter, in particular, has drawn questions from the fans about how much from the first season of James Gunn's own The Suicide Squad film will factor into the new DCU. Gunn has discussed this before, indicating that whatever said in the new episodes becomes canon, including past season or film events. Now, speaking with THR, he elaborates on that further. He said, yeah, Peacemaker Season 1 and The Suicide Squad are light canon. Peacemaker is pretty straightforward, with the exception of the appearance by a certain group, the former DCEU's Justice League, at the end. They don't exist yet, but the rule is if we mention something from the past and one of the new DC... Excuse me. I can feel a sneeze coming. There it goes.
Bless you.
Thank you. But the rule is if we mention something from the past in order of the DC shows and movies, then it happens. So that's the way we're dealing with it. Gunn has previously indicated that animated works in this franchises are essential as live-action ones, and characters will be able to hop between mediums. Does that mean we'll be able to see someone like G.I. Robot in live action someday? We've talked about all these characters in live action and how we would do them. If we did them in live action, I don't want to give away any secrets, but we use some technology in Superman that's completely new in regards to this kind of stuff, so we would know exactly how to do G.I. Robot. One thing that would remain very consistent between the live action and animation works is the world that they inhabit. Everything is very consistent in terms of the politics of the world and where the world is and at what's going on. Who are the metahumans in power? Who are the metahumans not in power? Who are the power brokers? Who are not the power brokers? So we see a glimpse of it here, but we see more of it in Superman and Peacemaker. Gunn says he's currently showing his new Superman film to select test audiences for the first time, calling it an enormous bear of a movie and completely different from this show in every way. He also adds that the second season of Peacemaker is going to take people by surprise. We take a very different route than we did in the first season. Creature Commandos launches December 5th at 3 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, so wouldn't that be now? So it is December 5th.
Yeah.
So it should be out, unless they meant December.
Yeah, it dropped last night.
Okay. That's
like
what I thought.
I don't know what time Max does their drops, but sometime.
Okay. All right. So now the couple to this, Steph, is that I listened as I was coming in this morning. I went to listen as I'm coming to the office. I listened to Josh Horowitz's podcast, and he had James Gunn on. And it's a great conversation, right? They talked for a lot. They talked about some of this stuff. They talked about, obviously, Creature Commandos. They talked about canon. They talked about a great many things. And they brought up, Josh asked him about Batman, and he said, did you ever consider having Pattinson as your DCU Batman? And Gunn's like, did I consider it? Yeah, definitely. I definitely considered it. And I had it back and forth. And I kept, and he didn't say straight up, like, it's not going to happen. He just said, I also like having the Elseworlds part of it. So there might be a chance is what I gathered from that, but I think it most likely won't, because I think that he was pretty adamant that he likes the Elseworlds stuff. But what I will say, and then I want to throw it to you, is that I feel, I mean, look, you're going to get people that just don't like James Gunn, so no matter what he does, they're just going to shit on him no matter what, and he can't win, and he's aware of that. But if I'm just a regular DC fan, if I'm a Mike Kalinowski right now, I am happy, because this guy, this is the type of person that Star Wars needs. I'll tell you that. And this, you listen to the way and he said it in the interview too. He doesn't deal with the day-to-day business stuff. He deals with the creative stuff. It's not what he wants to do. Because Josh asked him, he said, "What would you want to have done Marvel if they said, hey, we'll give you Feige's job, you think about stepping down? Would you want it?" He's like, hell no. He's like, that's not what I do. He's like, I co-run this with Peter, because Peter is like, you know, the business, the day-to-day, like the guy who's doing this stuff. Like, it's not me. I'm doing the creative stuff. But if I'm a DC fan right now, I'm liking the direction this guy's going. How do you feel about all this?
Yeah, I think that he has a really great grip on his vision, and that vision happens to align with a lot of the fans, and that's cool because we're living in this time where it's like you can't please everyone, but I feel like he's doing a good job of focusing on like a major group, and I really like that he's like doesn't shoot down every idea. He really thinks about it and considers everything. And I think that if he fell in a good place where I agree that the elsewhere, like Matt Reeves' world is so good at being distinctive in its own self. So I, as a fan, am like, oh, that's that world. And then we have a different Batman for the newer slot that we have coming up.
Yeah. And I think that probably makes the most sense. He said he was little things that Josh was trying to get out of him, where he asked him if we were going to see Bane and Deathstroke, and he just kind of like totally sidestepped the conversation because it seemed like he was planning on those characters, but didn't say as much, right? And there's other things, but he's really just been working on Superman right now, and I'm feeling confident about Superman. And what's hilarious is that I'm not going to pretend that I know Frank Grillo like I know Brett Sheridan, right? I've interviewed him. I've talked to him twice. But what I have gotten from Frank Grillo from both times I've spoken to him and other things I've seen is that this is a genuine person. And I've seen him be in the room to promote something that he was just lukewarm about. And he talked about it lukewarm, to be honest. This was not the case when he was talking about all of this stuff. He is very excited to be working with James Gunn. This is not a performance. This is someone who's like pumped. I remember when he was in, it's kind of noted. We didn't talk about it on the show, but I didn't want to get into it. But like, I don't think he had the best experience at Marvel. And I don't know. He didn't say any of that to me. This is just me just thinking. He talks about them very highly when he talks about them, but he doesn't have that kind of, you know, little kid excitement. Now, granted, it's also recency bias and things that's who he's working with right now, and he's also part of the jump start to this thing. But he got me hyped up with hearing how James Gunn is handling all this.
Yeah, I feel like on all sides, James Gunn is looking really good and has been for a long time. Whether it's how he works Twitter and his transparency of like, you guys can ask me questions and he answers some, and then it just feels like he's approaching it like a real fan who happens to be an extreme creative talent in many regards, and then that mixture is really cool to see. Like, I feel like it's different, but it's like the same idea of like George Lucas, where it's like there's these guys that have and women who have multiple talents and they're able to put it to this vision where most people can't do that. But I like how he delegates with Saffron, and he's like, oh, that's not what I do.
Right.
I'm just focusing on this.
Yeah, and he gave him all the props in the world and said like that's just what he does. He does it like really well, as where I'm doing the creative stuff. And then Josh asked him about Superman and said, like, what is it about your version that's different? And he said this. He said that this is James Gunn, who was teasing more of us, and you'll like this stuff. This is more of a science fiction Silver Age Superman, and Nicholas Hoult imposing Lex Luthor. Superman the movie remains the definitive take on the character in the eyes of many fans. Modern Superman movies have been something of a mixed bag. Superman Returns tried and mostly failed to recapture the magic of Richard Donner's early movie in 2006 and was treated as a direct sequel. Zack Snyder upped the ante with 2013's Man of Steel, though his action-packed approach was somewhat diminished by controversial creative decisions. As for Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, and Justice League, those were also incredibly divisive. Next up is James Gunn's Superman, a movie which promises to embrace the comics and take the hero back to his roots. In a conversation with Josh Horowitz, the filmmaker and DC Studios boss, shed new light on what fans can expect from his take on the iconic hero. He said, I don't think we've ever seen the big science fiction Silver Age Superman aspects that we have in our movie. We've never seen, well, you'll see the movie when it comes out, but we've never seen this specific part of Superman's life. I don't think we've ever seen the Lex that Nicholas Hoult is. He's imposing. He continued to go on and say, you go, oh, F, poor Superman. That is the thing we never see, not in film. Sometimes in the comics, you go, oh, Superman is F'd because Lex is so smart and so good at what he's doing. But in the movies, you're going to go, Lex is about to get F'd. We've got a big old Superman and a pretty tall Lex. So now you see where Lex did. He's not the person you want to have against you. So that's part of the review itself. But I'm telling you, they're doing a good job. This movie and is not even close to being out yet. It's coming out next year, but they're doing a good job at hyping it up in the way that they're doing, because that was one of the things, again, throwing it back to the Frank Grillo thing. Frank talked about David Cornsweet and said that the guy just embodies Superman, and just like he's like huge, because Frank's like, I'm 5'11". I was looking up at this guy, and I was like, oh, you are Superman.
That's really cool. He looks like him. Like, I feel like the casting, everything's been really cool to see unfold. And like, even though people are like, oh, I wish it was this, I wish it was that, no one's like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, a lot of it's making sense. And I think that people are really excited to see a Superman film like this. And he's approaching it how I think any fan would be happy to see how he's approaching it. And it does make me even happier when you hear that the cast and crew are really loving being on set. I think it's part of the reason why Wicked is becoming this huge phenomena, because people were like, being on set was magical. John M. Chu created this awesome environment for us to create. And at least for me as a viewer, that makes it way more enjoyable to be like, oh, they really loved this project. They took care of it, and they took care of the cast and crew and everyone involved.
Yep.
And so everything about that is cool. I feel like the more sci-fi take I would really love.
Did you?
We got a little of that in Man of Steel, but
you did. There was a little bit of it in Man of Steel for sure. But I mean, from what these comics were, and that was the other thing I picked up from that interview with Josh, is that how, like, James Gunn's not a poser when it comes to this stuff. Like, he really knows comic books, both Marvel and DC, and he just knows them. He's like, he's a geek. You know, he did it.
Right. So it's like you have to ask certain questions, like, are you thinking about this character or this character? And I get that, but it's like, I feel like he's made clear that he's a super fan, and he's probably thought of more characters than most of us that could be placed in. Just depends if it works or not.
It's exactly what it is, and it's like there's so many things that I think that are working out in their favor in the way that he's presenting it, and I don't know. I just think that people are in for a treat. And you want to be in for a treat, guys. I'll tell you what, you want to be in for a treat. You want to check out VIIA. Everybody should be checking out VIIA. If you're not, that's on you. I'm going to tell you about VIIA, and I'm also going to tell you about Rocket Money. Here you go. You're welcome. Yep, I gave you the gift of VIIA. That's right. And I'm going to give it to you again. If you want to break from the crowded stores and the endless gift lists, you restore your zen and you embrace the natural power of cannabis this holiday season with VIIA. This holiday season, you got to unwind, you recharge with VIIA. Whether you're enjoying a quiet evening at home or embracing the festive cheer, VIIA's premium THC and THC-free gummies will help you find your perfect holiday balance. VIIA is well-renowned for their award-winning THC and THC-free gummies, and they legally ship to nearly all states in the U.S. in discreet packaging directly to your door with a worry-free guarantee. There's no medical card required. Right now, VIIA is having a huge holiday sale. For a limited time, you can save up to 25% off of site-wide, plus up to 50% off select items and bundles. So if you are 21 and up, check out our link to VIIA's website in the description. I absolutely love VIIA. There's so many different things. It does feel like Christmas when you get it. Anyway, my favorite one is the sleep one. I really dig it. It's wonderful. Really nice dreams. Use that code Kristian for 25% off. And after you purchase, they're going to ask you where you heard about them. You got to support our show, and you tell them that we sent you this holiday season. Enhance your everyday with VIIA. I've told you about Rocket Money, guys, and the reason why for Rocket Money was so important is that I for a long time, I used to do these things where I'd be on my phone and I'd start searching for these apps. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I'll sign up. Oh, for free? Yeah, it's free for now. But then it's going to be $20, $30 a month, and you forgot that you're even paying it. And I was like, oh, well, this Rocket Money lets you know about what subscriptions that you have that you're not paying attention to. It can cancel subscriptions for you. It really is amazing. And it just cuts so much time out of my schedule. And I love it, because you don't even know how much you're paying in subscriptions, and you're probably paying way more than you think, because over 74% of people have subscriptions they've forgotten about. And I definitely did that. I can tell you that right now. Like, there was a couple of, I'm telling you, some of these apps, I tried some of these apps and I'm like, oh shoot, I forgot all about it. You think you spend around 62 per month on subscriptions, something like that, but it's close to about 300. You're close to about 300 a month.
because Rocket Money is also, it's a personal finance app, and it cancels your unwanted subscriptions, it monitors all of your spending, and it helps lower your bills so you can grow your savings. Everyone that's using it, 500 million in canceled subscriptions. Wow. It saves about $740 a year. It's great. So stop wasting money on things that you don't use. You just cancel your unwanted subscriptions. You go to rocketmoney.com/thing, rocketmoney.com/thing. Very easy. rocketmoney.com.
All right. Thank you to Rocket Money. Thank you to VIIA. And thank you to you guys, because VIIA came back on board, because you guys have been smart to get yourself some VIIA, and Rocket back on board because you guys have been smart signing up to Rocket. All right, Steph, you're a big Lord of the Rings gal, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you know your Roxy's been getting raked over the coals.
I know. She told me.
Hilarious.
I didn't. I haven't engaged with the community like that because I never watched it with on public view. So, and then but I could see it in terms of like any time that I would read the book in public. It's like there's a certain type of fan of the book that comes up to you, and it is like a know-it-all group because it is, it's like high lore, more nerdy, and I love it.
It's the intellectual nerd property,
which is like, ooh, I would hate to be roasted by you guys too.
Yeah. Well, she certainly got it. But you both, and it was so funny because she can't say Aragorn. She says Aragorn. And I kept trying to get her to say Aragorn, and she just couldn't do it. And
maybe it's the Boston.
It's 100% the Boston. There's so many words that, I mean, I talked to her about this when she was on there. We talked about it the other day, where like Matt Serra does not say acolyte or Qui-Gon, right? And he never will. In the same way that she doesn't say,
and that's fine.
It's totally fine. And I look forward to it when he does it. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And the same thing. So Aragorn is going to be in. They want him for the new Gollum film. Did you hear that news? Yeah. So you're gonna be excited about this. Viggo Mortensen is wanted back for the new Gollum films. Gollum. The team behind the Lord of the Rings trilogy are trying to get some of the original stars from the films back in the upcoming live-action Lord of the Rings: The Hunt for Gollum movie. I'm having a rough one. Sorry, live show. Oh, man. Okay. Andy Serkis is returning as Gollum, of course, for the film, which is expected to be set during the events of the Fellowship of the Ring. Oh, is that what it is? It's expected to be during set. Makes sense. In a time right before Frodo leaves the Shire. Philip Boyens, one of the core trio behind the original trilogy, alongside Peter Jackson and Fran Walsh, spoke about the live-action film recently and revealed to the playlist that the team would love Viggo Mortensen to return as Aragorn if he's open to it. Honestly, that's entirely going to be up to Viggo. We had a very early stage. I've spoken to Viggo. Andy Serkis has spoken to him. Peter Jackson has spoken to him. We've all spoken to each other. And honestly, I cannot imagine anyone else playing Aragorn, but it will be completely and entirely up to Viggo. In the film, Aragorn is tasked by Gandalf to find Gollum before he can share any sensitive information about the One Ring with anyone and have it get back to Sauron. Mortensen is notably older than he was during his time as Aragorn, but Boyens says they won't use AI technology to de-age him. I know Andy wants to work with him, but also we don't see this as using AI technology. This is about a digital makeup, and whether Viggo does it or will depends on how good the script is. And he doesn't have a script yet. So to be fair to Viggo, let's see if we write a good enough role and that he can find enough in it to see that it's a performance he wants to take on. After that, it'll be between Viggo and Andy of how that is achieved. Even if Mortensen turns down reprising his role, Boyan says they would still want him heavily involved in the project. I suspect if he decides he doesn't want to, we would still want him to be heavily involved. Like, how do we hand this character off? But literally, that decision is several months away. He's got to read the script first, and that's exactly what I'm going to be working on when I get out of this interview. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, my first thought is the same thing we talked about, even with like Hayden Christensen, where they didn't de-age him in that. Oh, what show was it? I don't know if it's Obi-Wan or I can't remember which one it was, but whatever it was, I was like, why didn't they de-age him? They de-aged him in Ahsoka. They didn't de-age him in Obi-Wan, and it was very glaring. Aragorn would not look. I mean, Viggo Mortensen's got to be what, 62 years old? How old is Viggo Mortensen?
I think he's up there.
How old is
Yeah,
Viggo Mortensen?
Viggo Mortensen is 66 years
He's
old.
66. He was 45 years old when he did the first one. If not 40 when he did the first one.
Yeah.
You
I
have
feel
to.
like they're in a tough position because it's like to replace Vigo is a huge deal. You know, it will. I think of the one that had the most pressure recently with Han Solo,
Right.
and you know we saw how that went, and I do get that. Like that would be a lot of pressure for an actor and just to find someone. But obviously I would love to see Vigo back in the role, but it doesn't really make that much sense. But it's interesting that they're placing kind of a lot of pressure on it.
Yeah, what's confusing about it is this. If they really wanted him back, you don't announce this movie until you get him back.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like, well, yeah, it's kind of imperative we want Vigo back. But you guys just announced the movie. You talked to him? Yeah, we talked to him. Is he in? No, not yet. We haven't shown him a script yet. You're like, well, why'd you announce it? You got to wait on that. But I think it's an error not to do AI. I think I do think it's or whatever they're gonna do, the deep fake. I think it's a.
Would you rather a de-aged Viggo Mortensen returning in the role or a younger actor?
De-aged. Yeah, because I'd want to see. I want to see Vigo back again for sure. But you're getting it because it also depends on what the extended versions are canon. Like Viggo or Aragorn is 100 and however old he is. He's old. And you know it doesn't. But unfortunately, it takes place during a time that we've seen him and we know exactly how he looks. So it's like one of these things where you're just going, well, just ignore it. It's like that's going to be the question,
right,
for the fans. What you just asked me is a question for people like, what do you just like? Because I think the other question is, would you rather have them change up the actor and get someone who's 40 years old or whatever, or do you say who gives a crap? Vigo's back. Let the 66-year-old version of him do it.
Right.
I don't know the answer to that. I don't know. I think it's interesting.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, and then people, even the audience in the chat right now is saying that the movie needs Viggo, and it's like, well, it seems like it certainly centers around Aragorn, and to kind of go what Steph is saying, it's like, it's one thing that if you're gonna just show up as Aragorn, but if it's revolving around you, if the mission is that Aragorn has to find Gollum, it's going to be someone who is either going to now the spotlight. Now it's going to become less about a new Lord of the Rings movie, and it's going to be about like there's a new person playing the role of Aragorn.
Yeah, I think they're in a really tricky position because I didn't know that this was going to be as focused on on Aragorn, and so I think it makes more sense because I was like, how are they going to focus just on Smeagol for 2 hours plus each movie? Not because he's not an interesting character, he's insufferable. So
Right.
Just as a viewer, you would get fatigued fairly quickly if the entire movie was placed on him. There has to be a B plot or a supporting cast that's equally as important in a lot of ways.
Right.
So it makes more sense story-wise. Just logistically, I'm curious how that will play out.
It's true, and I was looking. It's so funny because like this is what major production companies do a disservice to this technology. Because I see someone in the chat going, well, imagine if he said the de-aging, it's not there yet. You can't do a full movie on that because imagine if Luke from the end of Mandalorian season 2 that's the whole movie. Yeah, well, that's not the best version of that technology. There's people that were YouTubers that did a better version of that with that technology. Frank from Collider used to do better versions of that. The stuff that they did in Ant-Man was a better version of it. There's better people who can do it. They just haven't had the right people doing it. There's some people at Marvel that did it, and you certainly can do it, and you certainly are able to. It's just you got to get the best. You can't cut corners and say, oh, that looks fine, because you're not wrong. The Luke stuff looked bad, the first one, but the Luke stuff in Boba Fett looks great.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that one scene at the with
The full
Ahsoka?
episode. No.
Oh yeah, the full episode.
Yeah, in remember in Boba Fett, the that whole, it was like basically 2 episodes of Mandalorian.
That was in Boba Fett. I
Yeah.
thought that was just in Mandalorian they
right.
did that.
Yeah, no, remember that was the whole thing, is that they
Right.
that show, the most interesting part is when Boba Fett wasn't in the show.
Yeah.
And they had and they had that whole thing, which was, and they even did his voice and did all that stuff too. So, but they're not wrong. That's a higher budget with the de-aging tech, but it's a moot point. It's a moot point because they did. One of the producers said they're not going to do it, so it doesn't matter. Well, we could say all day long if we want it or not want it. She said they're not going to do it. So, yeah, it's going to be he either does it as a 66-year-old man, or they hand it off to somebody else.
Yeah.
Yeah. Who was, I always forget, because who was Charlize Theron's ex-boyfriend? What was his name? Remember the guy from the early 2000s? Stuart something? The audience will tell me. But he was cast as Aragorn, and then he was recast because he was too young.
Jeez, I can't imagine anyone else.
I know, but he was not originally cast in the role. People will tell me in the audience. I'm sure there's Lord of the Rings junkies. Stuart Townsend. Was it? Was it really? I guess it was Stuart Townsend. I said maybe not. Maybe it is. I don't know. But either way, he's not Aragorn. Viggo Mortensen is, and we're gonna see if that carries over. Steph, I can tell you right now, Roxy's looking okay. You got 11.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So we gotta see, but we are right now gonna get into another topic here, and that is, let's see, what do we have? We got quite a few of them. Are you watching? No, 1923 just put out a trailer. I didn't see that yet.
No.
A lot of gun stuff and DCU stuff, but I'm not gonna cover too much more of that. We did that. Oh, you know what we should talk about real quick? We should talk about Skeleton Crew.
Yeah.
Because you haven't talked about it yet here. What did you think?
I went into it being like, okay, I think I'm gonna like the show. It looks like it has a good cast, cute story. I thought it was gonna be like super endearing and more for kids, which it is. But I think that it's really great. Like, I really enjoy it. I think the cast, each of the characters are so individual and fun in their own ways. I think the actors are such great little actors. And I like the story. The story, I feel like, is pretty well thought out right now, and I'm intrigued in it. And I was thinking, like, if they really want to go more kids, for kids, younger generation, I feel like this is exactly the vibe.
Yeah,
I love this vibe.
So I'm enjoying the show. I think the first 2 episodes, I still, and Roxy and I talked about this, I do think that you could have made this any science fiction show. Like it seems like a science fiction adventure story with kids, and they slapped some Star Wars stuff in it, which is great, but it didn't have to be Star Wars. The reason they made it Star Wars is because they wanted people to watch it, right? And the perfect example of that is my dad talked to me today, and I have never heard him bring up any Star Wars show to me ever, any of the new Star Wars shows. He watched Skeleton Crew, and he said it was just, he enjoyed it, he liked it, he thought it was a good adventure thing, and I think that the vibe is there. Now, I don't know what happens from episode 3 on, but right now I'm engaged in the story.
Yeah, I thought it was. That's interesting you say that, because I hear what you saying, but I also feel like it felt very like childhood Star Wars to me. Like,
yeah, it is.
The themes that I felt as a kid.
Yes.
I love the Goonies vibe that it has going on.
Then
I just think, coming off the Acolyte, I was so impressed that we have like individualized characters that have completely different motives and are fun to watch in their own right.
Yeah, and this is kind of my point, same way where, like, the point I made with Agatha, right? This show is clearly aimed at kids. This one's aimed at kids. Now, it doesn't mean that not everybody can enjoy it, but it's aimed at kids, in the same way that it's that business meeting I always talk about. They say, who do we really want to make this show for? We want everybody to enjoy it, but who are we making it for? And this one is made for a younger generation. It's made for younger kids, and it is something I'm going to watch with my 7-year-old because I watched the first 2. But I think it's something that clearly everybody can dig, and that's the best shows. Is that you can aim it for a particular audience, but if everybody gets on board, that's how you get an audience.
Right. And I think it's really smart because I feel like they've been trying to get the younger audience, but I feel that they hadn't hit the mark yet in the way that I'm like, oh, I do see this bringing together a new range of audience members that are like, oh, I hadn't checked out Star Wars yet, but now I'm watching it, and I think it's a good introduction to it, and I hope it continues to do really good because it makes me excited for that there's more better to come. I was really excited about the director list when they dropped it.
They have a great list. Yeah.
Great list. So I was like, that's awesome. And these feel like there's some unique, and then they're like we talked about, they have some unique directors, and then ones that like Bryce Dallas Howard. I'm like, that's awesome. It feels like you have a wide array of things that should work.
Yep. Are you do you have some windows open?
I know. I don't know.
If you have windows open, that's why it's doing that.
I don't think so. Let me look.
That's all right. Well, we're gonna switch over while Steph gets her shit in order. So there's more casting now. And well, it's not official, but it looks like we have potentially found a Snape for the Harry Potter series. Have you seen this, Steph?
Yes.
So this came out yesterday. Premium cable HBO is reportedly circling British actor Papa Essiedu to play Professor Severus Snape in the upcoming Harry Potter TV series, according to multiple sources for The Hollywood Reporter. The actor has reportedly been offered the part of the Hogwarts Potions Master, so memorably played by the late Alan Rickman in the films, although it is not clear if negotiations have begun in earnest. To date, no actors have been officially cast in the series, but Bridge of Spies actor Mark Rylance is reportedly close to being signed for the critical role of the wise headmaster Albus Dumbledore. The trade sources also say that recent rumors of Cillian Murphy being sought for the role of Lord Voldemort are not correct. HBO issued a statement in regards to the Essiedu casting report, saying, "We appreciate that such a high-profile series will draw a lot of rumor and speculation. As we make our way through pre-production, we only confirm details as we finalize deals." Essiedu is a Royal Shakespeare Company trained actor who has previously starred in the films like The Outrun, Men, Murder on the Orient Express, along with TV like Gangs of London, Anne Boleyn, and I May Destroy You. His most high-profile role to date was the lead of the well-received sci-fi series The Lazarus Project, about a British agency in control of a time loop that can be reset to a fixed point at the same time of year to prevent world-ending events. Okay, so do you know what the most intriguing thing about all of this is for me?
What?
I want to go watch Lazarus. What is that?
Right. Yeah, that did seem interesting.
Yeah, that to me is more interesting than anything else.
I know, because I've only seen this actor in I May Destroy You, and he was really good, but I have no idea what his range looks like, and I feel like Snape is a character that really requires it. What the vibe I'm getting is that if he got the role, he came in and just like absolutely destroyed the audition and brought something new to the character.
Right.
I think for Snape, for a lot of the main characters in Harry Potter, they have the burden and kind of this odd blessing of trying to keep to the character but reinvent and invent it in some ways. And so obviously this is probably going to make some people mad, but I do trust that. I feel like people like Gunn with DC, it's like if you're getting involved with Harry Potter, I would trust the idea that you love the lore and you are picking someone with that knowledge and knowing that you have a lot to prove.
He's a classically trained actor.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, look, this is one of the things I think is also fair to say. Is that you can look, like, no one will do this. Well, I shouldn't say no one, but what people should do, and I think is fair to do. And we had this whole conversation on Monday, and boy, did it stir the pot. But we talked about, to me, I felt like The Acolyte was an example of just one person who wanted to make a show a particular way, and they did it for $230 million, and it wasn't the right way to do it. The Harry Potter series, this is you give Harry Potter the benefit, or HBO Max rather, the benefit of the doubt when it comes to casting their shows. They do a pretty damn good job.
Yeah.
So the question is, and the other thing is, Alan Rickman is one of the best performances like ever in that role. So you're changing up the character, and you're now making the character a black man if you're going to do that. If it fits, that's what I was talking about the other day. If it fits and you don't even notice, then do it. It's like if the guy's not a good actor though, and you're like, well, wait a minute, did they just cast this guy because he was black? Right? Because he's not a good actor. But I don't think that's going to be the case.
Right.
He's a classically trained actor.
Right.
And they said, look, yeah, we're going to get some people screaming and yell about it. This guy's awesome. And
right.
You know who I bring up? I'll bring up Katie Sackhoff. When she was announced as Starbuck, oh my God, a female Starbuck? This is the worst. And then now you can't really even think of anybody else except her.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I feel like there's just no way that they're casting someone who isn't a great actor.
Right.
And I do think it might be one of those things. I hope that you're like, oh, I totally see why. And maybe this is what you needed to go outside. Because I'm one of those fans that I love the movies and the books so much that I still watch the movies once a year. I'm like, what's the need for it? Those still slap. So it is like that does excite me to be like, okay, it should be a little different because you're never going to get an Alan Rickman again. It has to be different than that.
I feel like this guy's going to be great.
Yeah.
And I feel like he's going to be great. And I think that, there's a reason why it's like anytime you bring up it doesn't matter who it's going to be. You're going to, if it's a different race or it's different, people are going to start to look for a reason to shake their finger.
Right.
If the guy's awesome, you're not even going to you'll bitch and moan for a couple of minutes on Twitter, and then you're like, oh, the guy's pretty damn good. And then there's some people that are just never going to do that, but it's what you should do because they're going after talent, and that's what they should do. They go after talent.
Yeah, and I think that I've noticed that in America, who knows, because I don't live in parts of Europe, but I have friends in London and parts of Europe, and they are like, the way that Americans just focus so much on every little thing that involves race is like, we don't do that like that. So I feel like in England they're probably like, cool, this actor's good, like let's move on.
Yeah, someone said I hope they don't give him Snape hair. I actually agree with that because I agree with that
completely.
It could be distracting.
No, you can't put a bad wig in ever. You can't. No, to anyone. It's like.
Although, I mean, look, they pull it off in House of the Dragon.
But they should put it. If it should be like what matches what his texture 100%. Is as the character. Yeah.
I'm all for this. I mean, my thing is, and I've promised myself that I would talk more about like how I'm like really feeling about this stuff because I think it's important for people to talk about it in a way that's not stupid. It's like, and that is that they got to cast talent. And if you go, that guy just blew our socks off. That's freaking Snape. That's Snape. Then it's Snape, and that's it. And let's watch. Like, to me, HBO Max gets the benefit of the doubt here, and I think that this guy's going to be good. If he's even cast.
Right. We don't know.
So we don't know.
They have to go. Yeah.
Not sure. Okay. So we'll do one more story, Steph, and then we're at 14. So
okay.
Today was a little bit of a
slow day. You guys are mad at me for not being here
last week, which is fine.
Okay, I'll be here next week, and we'll have to destroy.
I know, because we got to get. Well, you never know though, because I remember you started one time when the actual question started, and you were at like I think it was like 20, and then you hit like 150 or something crazy. So you never know. All right, let's see if there's any. I have another one here somewhere. Somewhere I do. There are more stories here, Steph, and there's tons of them actually that. But a lot of them just revolve around the DC stuff at the moment because you got the Creature Commandos and
I can't wait to watch that.
It's so I guess I can give my thoughts on that, right?
Yeah,
so
Yeah.
Creature Commandos to me, and I think I saw Greg Alba post about this, and I agreed with him where I liked the first episode a lot, right? But I was like, oh, this is pretty much just Suicide Squad, but with a whole new cast of characters, and instead of Rick Flag Jr., it's Rick Flag Sr., right? And Frank Grillo's great as him. But then as this episodes go on, you really start to dive deep into like the characters, and there's some good emotional moments. It's definitely, you can tell that that this is a Gunn written show. There's no doubt about it. So it's got, I mean, I would say I think episode 4 is the best one right now. That's the one that I would say is the best right now.
Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So
is the music good? Or is it classic Gunn type?
You know what? I think that I might call out our friends over at Comic Book Movie on this one. And I don't not Mark. I like Mark a lot. I don't know, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong here, but Josh Wilding, come on, dude. Show some class. Let me see if this is indeed the case. Let me see. Superman takes flight in a new promo art as Frank Grillo compares David Cornsweet to Christopher Reeve. Despite taking on roles in the likes of Hollywood and Twisters, it's unfair that David Cornsweet is relatively unknown before being cast. Everything we've seen of the 6'4" actor suggests he's been perfectly cast as the hero. Creature Commandos. Oh wait, I apologize to Josh Wilding. I called out the chat room yesterday, and now I called out someone else. My apologies go to Josh Wilding. I looked at it, glanced at it. He said, now Creature Commandos and Superman star Frank Grillo shares what he thinks makes Cornsweet so perfect for the role in an interview with Kristian Harloff. Just kidding, Josh. Yeah, so that's the quote there. So I was just, I've been on one the last couple of days. So I'm not feeling too good. I had a little bit of a cold, but I was like, so Josh Wilding has my apologies.
Okay.
Yeah.
No harm, no foul.
No, yesterday I called out a chat person for saying something they didn't say, and the day before too. So I think every day we do we do one. I didn't do the chat room today, so I called.
There's still time.
Wilding. Yeah, I called it Josh Wilding, who clearly writes that it was in an interview with me. So
yeah,
my apologies, Josh.
Anyone can get it.
Yeah, I just told him to show some class. Real nice.
Show some class,
just a little
brother.
bit. Just a little bit. All right, we're gonna get to these questions, and before we do, I'll tell you guys about our friends over at AG1. You know AG1. You love AG1. You should. And Tushy, my friend Sam loves the Tushy ad. So here we go. Just kidding.
Well, Tushy. I've been using Tushy for a long time, and I have 2 of them in my house, and I really love them. I'm so excited to tell you guys more about them. Hello Tushy is the modern bidet attachment that uses a stream of fresh water for a complete and soothing clean. The Tushy bidet, it attaches to your existing toilet without the need for additional plumbing or electricity. Installation, simple. Takes less time than it does for you to go to the bathroom, just under 10 minutes. Toilet paper only smears your poop around, but with the Tushy bidet's nozzle adjuster, you get a precise clean every time. And every Hello Tushy bidet comes with a 30-day hassle-free return and a 12-month warranty. Get one of these, especially for Halloween. Get one. Clean your butts. You guys will be thanking me, I promise you. Ditch the toilet paper. Finally feel shower fresh with Hello Tushy for a limited time. Our listeners get 10% off their first bidet order when you use that code BIGTHING at checkout. That's 10% off your first bidet order at hellotushy.com with that promo code BIGTHING.
I'll tell you about AG1. I've told you about AG1, and it's the best time to tell you about AG1 because it's the holiday season. And it is so hard, I'm telling you from experience, to stay motivated and to eat healthy during the holidays. It's always a challenge. So for me, what I make sure that I do, I have AG1 when I start off during the day. I know that if I'm going to have all my vitamins in one shot, I got AG1. Before AG1 was a part of my daily routine, I was all over the place. I was scattered, and I was like, oh, maybe I should do vitamins, but it takes 75 and different things and mix and match. It was a mess, so I couldn't do it. So for me, as you guys have seen, you guys have been so kind and complimenting. You're like, oh, I can tell you've lost weight, you look healthy. AG1. The travel packs are great too, because if I don't have the morning routine, for some reason gets thrown off, and I'm like, oh man, I got the travel pack, I'm on the train, I put it in a water bottle, done. What's so good about AG1 is it just sleep quality, more energy. It's wonderful.
Try this new year. Try AG1 for yourself. It is the perfect time to start a new healthy habit, and that's why I've been partnering with them for so long. They've been with us since I started this show. And AG1 is offering new subscribers free $76 gift when you sign up. You get a welcome kit, you get a bottle of D3K2, and you get 5 free travel packs in your first box. So make sure to check out drinkag1.com/bigthing to get this offer. That is drinkag1.com/bigthing to start your new year on a healthier note. You will thank me, I promise. All right, thank you to both Tushy and, of course, AG1. And thank you to you guys as we're getting to the holiday season and as we're approaching into the new year and the move and everything that we've done here. It's been you guys with the support and everything you've done for us. So thank you so much. The links are in the description if you want to help us out. That's how you do it. All right, Steph, you ready to do this?
Yes.
All right, so you currently have 17, so you need around almost a little over 65 or so to beat.
Jeez.
65 more to beat Roxy.
17, so sad 17.
Yeah, I know. Well, it's just unlike you.
I know.
Unlike you. So we'll see what happens. We'll see if you can make a huge comeback here.
Yes.
But we're going to start, and I think this is the first one, and that would be, I believe, yep, the great Ewok. You remember Ewok? You know Ewok.
Hi.
Ewok says, I love the interview with Frank Grillo. Thank you, Ewok. In addition to all the DCU projects, I was glad that you had a chance to discuss The Grey, which is one of my favorite films. It's a great movie. You ever see The Grey?
No.
Oh, it's a great movie. It's a
Okay.
very underrated movie. Did you finish watching Battlestar, by the way? We talked about
The first episode,
Yeah, your
but
first
I
episode.
haven't finished watching.
So you got to that baby scene though. I was telling you about.
Yes.
It's just creepy.
There was a few creepy things actually.
But the one where she actually she kills the baby in the did you not see that part? You would have remembered it. Were you checking your phone or something?
Are you sure that's in the first episode?
Yeah, it's like before they blow everything up in the beginning, the Cylons. Did you watch the pilot or did you watch the first episode? There's like a pilot movie.
Now I'm confused.
Yeah. It's like, where does it start with them in space already?
Yeah. Yes.
They're on the planet in the first one. You missed the first one.
Oh.
Yeah, it's all right.
It was really good.
It's really good. Jacob Pinchin, watching Sopranos for the first time. Pie oh my. Did everyone know that Ralph was bald? I don't think everybody did. I was as shocked as Chris. Yeah, it's the best part. Grillo interview was amazing. Road to Gunn. I would love to, man. I mean, look, this is the thing. I've been getting back on the horse when it comes to the interviews, right? So I've been doing more of them. Now that I have a studio that I can actually, it was hard because I had Robert Eiler and Matthew Lillard came to this studio, but it's not easy to get to from, I mean, you can take a train, but if you're driving, it takes quite a while, right? And then, yeah. So it takes a while. But I found a studio in Manhattan that I really liked that Chris Van Vliet had shown me, and I used it for both the Renzi Felice interview and the Jaleel White one. I'll be doing some more interviews from there, but I want to do way more. I want to do way more interviews, but I guess the thing is you got to keep getting your name out there because they're, you know, I tried to get Gunn, but he's only doing selected interviews at the moment. So I would like to. Roman Fedorak. What's up, Roman? Hey, all, grateful to be here. The first one is for Steph. Steph, keep being your awesome self.
Thank you. You too.
Yeah, movies that you have cried at. I did in Warriors. Roman, you always take my answers. I actually, the last time I've seen that movie now 5 or 6 times, and I watched it with Sam, and I still find myself tearing up on that movie.
Yeah, that movie really gets me.
So good.
This year, Wild Robot
yeah.
and Wicked both made me cry.
Did we talk about Wicked on this show yet with you? I don't know if you
I
had
hadn't seen it yet.
Okay. Did you love it?
I'm obsessed.
Okay, I figured.
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah, my Vivi loves it too.
Yeah, I just I think it's so good.
Yeah, I have the screener for it, so we're gonna watch it with the little one, see how she handles it.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. Roman Fedorak. Kristian, you've mentioned keeping themes across projects like Star Wars and Superman. What do you think are some other projects that would benefit from shared themes? I mean, Dune could be interesting too, but like, I just think that when there's a franchise that like that I think it's more, you can argue with me more about it and have valid points for like Superman, right?
It's like I like the idea of the John Williams Superman theme being the Superman theme in the same way that the James Bond theme is the James Bond theme for every James Bond, right? I like that because it associates you more with the character every time you use the piece of music. Every time I say that, and I'm sure there's somebody saying it right now, no, we don't need it, got to move on, find a new composer, or use the Hans Zimmer one. The Hans Zimmer one was great. But a consistency links the IP together, and Star Wars has forgotten about it. However, in episode 2, for like if you go like this, you can hear for like a second during the Jude Law theme. There's like the classic Star Wars.
Yeah.
And that's Michael Giacchino's son who's doing that. So I don't know about any other. Do you have any other ideas? Do you agree with me, Steph, that you think that there should be more consistency in the music?
Yeah, I do. I think it's like a nice callback like to classics. I was looking for it in Gladiator. I wanted to hear the original theme.
Yeah, that was there.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was there. And so I look for that.
Yeah.
So I like it. And I feel like it's a really strong way to play with the viewer's emotions.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because it's
absolutely.
automatic. Like you
Yeah.
already have feelings that have been formed around that tune. So
Right.
it's like it just adds to what you're watching.
Well, what about Harry Potter? You know, like, is Harry Potter gonna do that
They
theme?
should absolutely. I mean, that would be wild to me if they didn't use the theme.
Well, but what's the difference? Right? What's the difference?
No, I'm with you.
I know you are. But I'm asking the audience, like, if maybe.
Oh yeah.
Maybe because I'm telling you, the amount of pushback that I've gotten when I've said like that the Superman theme should be used for every Superman, and it's like it's Superman, and especially I could see the argument against it with Henry Cavill, because the Henry Cavill theme was not that type of tone that the John Williams score was trying. It was that classic Superman, right? And this was a different take of what Zack Snyder did with it. So I think the Hans Zimmer one was actually fit quite brilliantly. But moving forward, I think that they should use it, but they're not going to, so it doesn't matter. It's the same thing we talked about before with the de-aging stuff.
Yeah.
RQMD SMD. Hey, Steph, what was the first movie that you guys saw in a movie theater? Mine was The 10 Commandments. I saw it in the theater in New York City in December of '66 when I was 6 years old. Well, that's cool. First one I saw in a movie forever that I saw. I mean, my dad used to take me to movies. I don't remember the first one I saw because he used to just take me, and the other times I would run back and forth in the aisle. The one I sat still for was Empire Strikes Back.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, I the one that I remember being in theater first was Sixth Sense, and it was
Oh, wow.
it was not a good experience. It was so scary.
I'm sure. How old are you?
I was a child, like 5 or something. My parents thought it was a kid's movie.
Oh, you told me that. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yes, I remember that. Roman Fedorak. Also, Steph, do you have any favorite scores?
Oh yeah. Of course, I love just the original Star Wars score. I love all the main ones: Lord of the Rings, Harry Potter.
You know, it's a really good one.
Gladiator. What?
Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
So good. You know, it's also a really good one. I'm wearing a shirt for a minute. Inside Out. That
Oh, it's
like
good. Yeah,
opening. It's
yeah.
so
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's Michael Giacchino.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So good.
Dennis Hoffman. Frank Grillo. Conversation was outstanding. Thank you, Dennis. Such a natural,
good.
honest conversation. Really big fan of his. Yeah, me too. It was really fun to talk to him. He's a great guy, for sure. Yeah, people are commenting on my camera. Deal with it. I got nobody here. I had to readjust the cameras for shots, and it's like slanted. And I was doing all the clips for the clips channel and then I had to do a video for the other channel. And by the time I had to start recording, I was like, you can deal with it. So, and then you want to come over here? You want to come fix the camera? Come fix the camera.
You've like really settled in back to your East Coast vibe.
Yeah. I just.
Do you think you guys are going to be there forever?
I mean, you mean until I'm dead? Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
That's what you said.
Yeah, until you're no longer here. No,
Yeah.
but really, is this like your home?
I
Your
think so.
home is.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so.
And Sadie loves it.
She loves it. Yeah, they all love it. Everybody's. This morning they woke up, there was snow on the ground, so they dug that. That was good. So Yeah, it's good. Simon Section.
That's great.
Kristian, appreciation for contacting Josh regarding the Bad Boys question. You're the best. Thank you, Simon. Also, I will be preparing my leftover Thanksgiving takeaway dog eat box for your interview with Frank Grillo. Good eats, good conversation. Yeah, thank you, man. I'm glad people are tuning into that one. It was a really good one. Matt Sinister McCall, rough week, 66 hours without sleep. Watched Goodfellas last night and managed to get 3 hours. Glad Pesci didn't whack me. I had already been whacked enough. Nice. He throws in those zingers. All right. So next one is Armada. New 1923 season coming out for February 23rd. Sadie will be very happy about that. Because
The new what season?
1923?
Oh, I need to watch that.
You should. Yeah, it's
I'm watching Lioness now. I'm like getting all the Taylor Sheridan
people
shows.
love that Lioness show.
It's great.
People love it.
It's great.
Yeah. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey. Great name. They are not calling it de-aging technology. They are now calling it digital makeup.
Okay.
Tomato. It's not. I mean, it's not makeup. They can call it whatever they want. It's de-aging.
Yeah, they use digital makeup on everyone.
Yeah.
That's not the same as
It's not
the
makeup.
de-aging.
They're just calling it because they don't want to piss people off.
Right.
Mike Joyce, have you seen the Yacht Rock documentary on Max? No, but I guarantee you Makuga has.
Yeah, I haven't
Guarantee
seen
it.
that.
Brogu, my vote is on Steph. I think you are great.
Thank you.
Brogu, give me some props. You got 18 right now, Steph.
All right.
18.
Just need like 60 more.
Yep, that's it. Okay. What happened to Bean Dip Supreme just says WTF. I don't know what he's talking about. Okay. So, Mike Hunt. Perfect. Wondering if anyone else is as surprised as I am that Dune Prophecy is incorporating characters, Valia Raquel Drotia, from the god-awful Brian Herbert, Kevin J. Anderson prequel novels. I mean, I can't tell you that I was as familiar with those books, so they're not. If I don't know, I'd have to ask Riley about that. He's like the big Dune guy. So
yeah,
I can't tell you what. It doesn't bother me or not, or even surprise me because I don't know enough about it.
Yep, I'm with you.
Have you been watching?
Yeah, I'm behind though. Have you?
I've watched 2,
and
I like it.
Yeah,
I like it a lot actually.
I like it. I need to I think I built up some episodes because I feel like I would like it more if I binged a little.
Right. Yeah. I think because people were telling me that it wasn't that great. I really enjoyed it.
I like it. It was slow, and I haven't found myself totally connected with a character yet.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for that, but we'll see. But it looks good.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the next one for sure. I mean, there's 3 out right now. I've only seen 2. Chris Sostek, when are you going to interview James Gunn? Listen, he is active on, not as active on Twitter, but I think he's active on like Threads and everything. Tag him, tell him he's got to do the show. Yeah, more people tell him that he checks his stuff. Tell him say, hey, saw Frank Grillo doing it. You should do it also. That's all it is. Okay, Mike Joyce. Any interest in the Y2K movie? Which one is that? Do you know?
Oh, yes. I just saw a trailer and it looked really cool.
What's in that?
Is it Jesse Eisenberg?
Okay.
Yeah, Y2K. It looked really crazy. Let's see. It's Kyle Mooney, Rachel Zegler, Jaden Martell.
Oh, I know what it is. I know what that movie is. Yeah.
I love Kyle Mooney. I'm actually super happy he's getting a movie. I used to watch his YouTube videos, which are so niche humor, but I loved him on SNL. I feel like he was underutilized but I get it because his humor is so weird. But I'm happy to see him in this.
He's talented. My only problem with him on Saturday Night Live is I think that they're on Saturday Night Live. We can talk about this because you're a Saturday Night Live person also. I think that they're finally it's like 50% now. There's 50% of the castmates that actually do characters and they do different people all the time. Then there's still the other part. It's just like they just show up. Kyle Mooney was one of those people. He just showed up and did the same thing every time.
Yeah, it's like that, but the writer's room sketch, that's just like recurring of he was always in the writer's room sketch. Now they have like the trio of guys who does the writer's room sketch. I love them too, but it's hard because you need like you need the stand up here and there on the cast,
Yeah.
but really SNL thrives with like 4 key character
Characters.
players.
Yeah, and they have like the woman that you sent me the picture of. I don't remember her name yet.
Yeah,
She's
Sarah.
She's fantastic. She did
She's
another
great.
thing on. She did. Did you watch Saturday Night Live this? Oh, it wasn't this week. It was 2 weeks ago. But it was. She was like. She was playing a chipmunk or a squirrel. She was playing the squirrel.
Oh yeah.
It's hilarious. It was really. She was really.
Yeah,
she,
yeah.
It's about what the really good ones. Even though the writing's not the best on the scene, and it was fine on that one. It's the commitment.
Yeah.
And it's like there are 2 characters on. There's no world, and maybe I'm wrong, but there's 2 cast members right now that I can't imagine they're going to make it past this season. They don't ever stand out. They're giving nothing to do. They're the same. There's 2 characters, they'll say, and every single time they're just reading the lines, whatever they have, and they don't ever have anything funny to really stand out. I can't imagine when you're just acting like yourself, reading lines, that you're going to have a very long shelf life for Saturday Night Live.
Right, unless you're writing the sketches.
Unless you're writing the sketches, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Josh Needle. I'd rather have Aragorn recast. The de-aging CGI is distracting. Hollywood should go back to recasting younger versions of characters like they used to. I understand the argument behind that. I really do. And I think that like Steph was saying though, some people John Hoey will argue with me, but I think I love Alden Ehrenreich as an actor. I think he was great in Oppenheimer. Not the right choice for Solo. Just wasn't the right choice. That's another movie that should have been a different character. Shouldn't have been Han Solo, because he did not, to me, embody the essence of what Harrison Ford created. Not Harrison Ford, because you have to get, because he created this character. So you've got to take, people are like, oh, he was doing his own version of it. Well, that's not what we signed up for. We signed up to see a take on that character that Harrison Ford essentially created with George Lucas. So the problem that you'd have with Aragorn is kind of the same thing. You have to get somebody who just nails it.
Yeah, it'll be very tough. I didn't have as much of a problem with him as I did. It's hard to judge his performance because I didn't love the script, the story.
You're talking about Solo?
Solo. So I'm not sure. I feel like if I liked the story and the script more, maybe I would have seen the performance differently. But for Aragorn, I don't know what they're going to do. That seems very, even more, I don't know, that's almost equally stressful. Like those 2 characters are known forever.
Yep. Nick Vaughn. My issue with de-aging or using AI is that the older actor is still going to move like they are an older person, like De Niro in The Irishman. I don't disagree with that. Like, that is, there's nothing really you can do. The only thing that you could really do there is essentially what they did for Luke in Boba Fett. That wasn't Mark Hamill, that was some other guy, and they put Mark Hamill's face on him, and you could basically do that. But then it gets, then you're not getting the performance out of Viggo. So yeah, it's tricky. It's absolutely tricky. But I agree with you. Like, you could totally notice that in The Irishman. It was rough, and then and the de-aging stuff that they used in that movie was just not good at all. Okay, Bobby Jackson. What's up, Bobby?
Hi, Bobby.
Oh, Bobby. I feel like I'm out on an island with Skeleton Crew. I like it okay, but it's not quite sticking with me yet. I don't think you're out on an island.
I don't think, yeah.
I hate to say this, but the acting of the main kid keeps pulling me out of the story. That's fair.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, but it's fair. I mean,
he to me is like such a classic kid.
Yeah.
Like if a kid was obsessed with Jedi and had a dose of attention hyperactivity, that is that kid.
Yeah, they have a very good chemistry, those kids, but like, I'm with you, Bobby, in where I'm interested and I'm enjoying what I'm watching, but I'm not like super, like I still say this too, this is the best show that they've made quality wise in quite a while, but I will tell you that I still don't know if it was the right call to try to get everybody back on board. Although it does seem like people are like, this is what Star Wars should be. It does seem like that people are getting that kind of magic feel from it, and that's really all you can ask for, whether you like it or not. So I'm hoping that more people start to feel it, maybe, and who knows, Bob, maybe you might like it more after episode 3. Wicked Art, what's up, man? Did you notice the creature from Captain EO in Skeleton Crew? The opening scene was like A New Hope. I think Jude Law is the pirate. He's definitely the pirate, 100%. I mean, I think that they pretty much show you that because, well, it sounds exactly like him. It was the first.
Right.
And
right.
all the people that were with him are there on that planet. And they're
right.
Yeah, they're the ones that, so I think that's almost like given that it's him. Or maybe maybe not, but I mean that's the way I played it. I took it as if that's who that is.
Yeah, I thought that's who it was too.
Yeah. GoPal, what's up? Have you seen
Hi, GoPal.
the Senna show about the racing driver? No, I only tried it because Kaya Scodera is in it, but 2 episodes in, I'm liking. I don't even know. There's so much stuff on Steph. I don't even know. Like,
I know.
Unless Roxy tells me about it, I don't even know that it exists.
I know. It's crazy. There's so many good shows on.
There really is. All right, last one. This is it. Looks like we're gonna
Okay.
finish short show today. Steph GoPal
Okay.
says, "Are streamers' names disallowed? I kept getting an error until I deleted the word." Oh, I don't know. That's interesting. I mean, maybe
like on YouTube.
I think in the super chat he probably put in Netflix, and then when they wouldn't let him do it.
That's weird.
Well, Koi's in here, and so Koi said, "I'm gonna beat Steph this week. You're gonna have to beat Roxy. Roxy's at 83.
Yeah, no,
Roxy's at 83. This is Steph's coming off the bench from.
Yes, I wasn't here last week, and you guys have spoken. You don't like when I'm not here.
Yep.
And I'm listening.
So now you have listened. What do you got going on this week? Are you you've been on the obviously World Girls?
Yes. And just some miscellaneous work here and there. But I do feel like the week after any holiday feels so obscure and short and curious. And then also Sweet Honey Bear has her space surgery. So that is freaking me out. I did not account for that mentally when I got a girl dog. And it's really serious and I feel sad about it, but I have no choice.
Yeah, it's tough. Imagine. Wait until you have kids. The stuff you got to start to.
I know. It's freaking me out. I'm like, I really do get why people are like, get a dog before you have kids.
100%.
Because I'm thinking if I had kids, I would not want to be picking up her shit every day. Like it's like that's the last thing. But now I'm like, oh, it's so cute. But then learning things, like I'm like, oh, this is so intense. They have so many decisions that need to be made for them.
Yeah. We do have one last one. Don Ronaldo McWhiskey. Shout out to all of the chat. Thank you, Don. And then I want to give props. I'm going to give him props tomorrow on the show too. But Koi Jandro, he's hosting the official DC podcast now.
Yeah.
He's the comic guy as well.
So great.
And James Gunn tweeted out and everything too. So Koi knows.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, Koi knows that the longer he does that, the longer I'm going to be knocking on Koi's door to say, "Hey, did you tell Gunn to do the show yet?"
Yeah.
So
congrats to Koi.
Really
I feel like it makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
He's meant for that.
It was only a matter of time.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of time. Like he's just too damn good at it. So
yeah.
But I won't tell him that to his face. I'll only tell him when he's in the chat.
Never. You suck, Koi.
Yeah, when he's here. No, although as I said, I gave him props. You and him are really the only ones that show up early that I can actually set up the stream. Winston's late all the damn time. Friggin' Roka's late all the damn time. Roxy's right on time. Brett's usually a little
because
early.
Roxy's never late, so that would be shocking.
Roxy's never late, but she's always but always like right on time. I wind up getting late because by the time she gets there, I have to set up all the shots, so it's essentially kind of late. That's it. So there you go.
There you go.
Thanks.
I'll see you guys next week.
Yes.
Be ready to show up.
Yes. Show up and we'll be here. And we got more stuff. Tomorrow is Winston and Koi. We will close out the wing. So right now it's going to be Winston and Koi versus Roxy as Roxy takes out the other world girl today. Who knows what's going to happen? But thanks for joining us. Steph, thank you for being here. And that's it. So I appreciate you guys, and we'll see you on the flip side. See you tomorrow.